Princess Zara stood at the window of her royal chambers, looking out at the 3 moons of Tendor. The view was beautiful, but to her, they were just another reminder of all the places she could never go. The soft purple light filled her room, casting shadows across her blue-tinted skin and reflecting off the delicate scales that lined her forehead. She turned away with a sigh. Her rooms were large and filled with the finest things in the empire. Servants attended to her every need, but the doors were always locked, and guards always watched. It had been this way for all 22 years of her life. "Princess, your evening meal is ready," said a servant, bowing low at the doorway. Zara nodded and walked to the dining table. The food looked delicious, but she had no appetite. Earlier that day, she had overheard 2 guards talking about her father's plans. They didn't know she was listening from behind the decorative wall screen. "The princess will be sent to the Draconians next month," one had said. "Poor thing doesn't even know yet." "Better not to know," replied the other. "Warlord Krax is not known for his kindness, but the alliance will make the Emperor even more powerful." The memory made Zora's hands shake as she picked up her fork. Marriage to Warlord Krax would be worse than her current captivity. Everyone knew stories about how he treated his wives. None of them lived very long. After dinner, Zara waited until the palace grew quiet. Then she called for her most trusted servant, an old woman named Mela who had cared for her since she was a child. "I need your help," Zara whispered when Mela entered. "I know about Warlord Krax." Mela's eyes widened. "My princess, don't deny it. I need to leave this place. Tonight." The old servant looked afraid but nodded slowly. "There is a diplomatic ship leaving for Helios 9 at dawn. My cousin works in the loading bay." "But the guards." "I have a plan for that," Zora said, moving to her closet. Behind her finest dresses was a small panel she had loosened over many months. Inside was a sleep gas injector she had stolen from the medical chambers during a rare supervised visit. By midnight, Zora had changed into plain clothes Mela had brought her. Her royal jewelry and elaborate hair ornaments were gone. In their place was a simple worker's uniform and a head covering that hid her distinctive royal scale patterns. Getting past the sleeping guards was easier than expected. The real challenge came at the spaceport, where security scanners checked everyone's identification. But Mela's cousin, true to his word, smuggled her aboard inside a diplomatic gift container. For 6 hours, Zara remained hidden in the cramped, dark space as the ship traveled through hyperspace. When they finally docked at Helios 9, she slipped out among the confusion of unloading and stepped onto the trading station. Helios 9 was nothing like the royal palace. It was noisy, crowded, and filled with smells both wonderful and terrible. Species from across the galaxy pushed past each other in the busy corridors. Zara had never seen so many different beings in one place. For the first time in her life, no one was watching her. No one knew who she was. The feeling was both terrifying and wonderful. That feeling lasted exactly 43 minutes. She was examining a food stall in the lower market when she spotted them, the distinctive black uniforms of her father's elite guards. 3 of them, moving through the crowd, scanning faces. One of them looked in her direction and paused. Zara turned and ran, pushing through the crowd. She could hear shouts behind her. The guard had recognized her. She turned a corner and crashed directly into someone, a tall figure with light brown skin and strange, rounded ears. A human. He stumbled back, dropping the packages he was carrying. "Hey, watch it," he said in the common trade language. Behind her, the guards shouted, "Stop that woman." The human looked confused as Zara ducked behind him, just as the guards rounded the corner. What happened next would change both their lives forever. Jack Miller was having a bad day even before the blue-skinned woman crashed into him. His cargo delivery was late, his payment was short, and now his packages were scattered across the floor of Helios 9's lower market. "Stop that woman!" The shout came from 3 men in black uniforms pushing through the crowd. Jack didn't know what was happening, but something in the woman's frightened eyes made him act without thinking. He kicked one of his fallen containers toward the approaching men, spilling hundreds of small metal parts across the floor. People slipped and fell, creating instant chaos. "This way," Jack said, grabbing the woman's arm and pulling her down a side corridor. They ran until they reached the maintenance area near his docking bay. "Are you okay?" he asked when they stopped to catch their breath. The woman looked at him with large violet eyes. "They will kill you for helping me," she said in perfect trade language. Jack shrugged. "They have to catch me first. I'm Jack Miller." "I am." She hesitated. "Call me Zara." Before Jack could ask more questions, an announcement blared over the station's speakers. "Attention all visitors. By order of the Tendorian Empire, Helios 9 is now under temporary lockdown. All ships are grounded until further notice." Xendorian Empire. Jack looked at Zara with new understanding. "Those guys back there were Imperial guards. What did you do?" "I existed," she said simply. "We need to leave now." Jack ran a hand through his short brown hair. "My ship is right through there, but with the lockdown." "They will search every ship," Zara said. "They will find me." Jack thought for a moment. "Maybe not. Follow me." They slipped through the door to Docking Bay 12, where Jack's ship sat waiting. The Starlight Runner wasn't impressive, an older model cargo vessel with patches on its patches, but it was home. "Get inside," Jack said, opening the hatch. "There's a storage compartment under the floor of the cargo hold. It won't fool their scanners for long, but it might buy us time." As Zara hid, Jack began his pre-flight checks, trying to look normal when a station security officer approached. "All ships are grounded," the officer said. Jack nodded. "Just running system diagnostics. Been having power fluctuations." The officer seemed satisfied and moved on to the next bay. Once he was gone, Jack worked quickly, overriding the docking clamps and powering up the engines. "This is either very brave or very stupid," he muttered to himself as he activated the ship's comms. "Control, this is Starlight Runner. I've got a coolant leak in my port engine. Request emergency undocking to move to repair bay." "Negative, Starlight. All ships air." Jack cut the transmission and punched in the emergency release code. The docking clamps disengaged with a loud clank. "Hang on," he shouted toward the cargo hold as he fired the engines. The Starlight Runner shot out of the bay into open space. Immediately, alarm sirens blared. 2 security vessels moved to intercept, but Jack had flown this route dozens of times. He knew about the maintenance exit, a small service corridor that was technically off-limits to commercial vessels. "Come on, old girl," he whispered to his ship as he pushed the engines to maximum. The Starlight Runner shuddered as it squeezed through the narrow passage, just as the station's defense turrets came online. 5 minutes later, they were in open space, navigation computer calculating the jump to hyperspace. Zara emerged from the cargo hold, her face a mixture of relief and worry. "You didn't have to do that." "Probably not," Jack agreed with a half-smile. "But it's too late now. We've both just made enemies of the Xendorian Empire." The ship lurched as it entered hyperspace, the stars stretching into lines of light around them. Jack turned to face Zora fully. "So, want to tell me who you really are and why those guards wanted you so badly?" Zara sat down in the co-pilot's seat, her shoulders tense. "It's a long story." "Well," Jack said, gesturing to the hyperspace tunnel surrounding them, "we've got about 8 hours until we reach the next jump point. I've got time." As the Starlight Runner carried them deeper into space, Zara began to tell her story, still unsure if she could trust this human but knowing she had no other choice. 3 days passed aboard the Starlight Runner as they traveled through the less-used jump routes of human space. Jack had chosen these paths carefully, knowing Imperial ships rarely patrolled here. Zara stood at the viewport, watching the strange patterns of hyperspace. "Your ship knows these routes well." Jack looked up from the control panel he was fixing. "Been flying these back roads for years. The pay isn't great, but there's freedom in being forgotten. Freedom. Zara repeated the word like she was tasting it. We don't have a word for this concept in the royal language of Tendor. No word for freedom. That's sad, Jack said, closing the panel and wiping his hands on a rag. Zara turned to him. In the Empire, everyone has a place. The Emperor rules. The nobles serve the Emperor. The common people serve the nobles. Everyone knows their duty. And what was your duty? Jack asked. Zara was quiet for a moment. To be beautiful. To be silent. To marry whoever would strengthen my father's power. Jack frowned. That's not living. That's just existing. What is the difference? Living means making choices. Good ones, bad ones. Doesn't matter. They're yours. Jack gestured around the ship. This bucket of bolts isn't much, but I chose it. The routes I'd fly, the cargo I carry, all my choices. This idea fascinated Zora. As the days passed, she asked endless questions about human life, especially about how people made decisions without being told what to do. In return, she shared knowledge about the stars they passed. Once, when their navigation system struggled with a dense asteroid field, Zara calculated a safe path using only her eyes and mind. How did you do that? Jack asked, amazed. All royal children learn stellar mathematics, she said simply. It was one of the few subjects I enjoyed in my lessons. When their supplies ran low, Jack decided to stop at Proxima Delta, a mining colony where he had delivered equipment before. We can blend in, he explained as they approached the planet. Lots of different species work in the mines. Keep your head down, and no one will look twice at us. They docked at the colony's spaceport and disguised themselves as maintenance workers. Jack traded some spare parts for credits, and they bought supplies in the busy underground market. But their luck didn't hold. As they were leaving a food vendor, Zara spotted a public news screen showing her face. The Tendorian Empire offers 10 million credits for information leading to the safe return of Princess Zara Krell, daughter of Emperor Krell, announced the newsreader. She is believed to be traveling with a human kidnapper. Jack pulled her into a side tunnel before anyone could notice her reaction. Princess, he whispered, you're the Emperor's daughter. Zara's shoulders slumped. Yes, I should have told you. Why didn't you? Because in my world, information is powered, she said. I thought you would use me for ransom or trade me back to my father for a reward. Jack ran a hand through his hair, thinking, 10 million credits is a lot of money. Zara nodded sadly. I understand if you want to turn me in. It would be the logical choice. Jack looked at her for a long moment. Then he surprised her with a simple question. What do you want to do next? Zora blinked in confusion. What I want? No one has ever asked me that before. Well, I'm asking now. Before she could answer, alarms blared throughout the colony. A voice over the speakers announced, attention all residents. An Imperial scout ship has entered orbit. Security checks will begin immediately. They found us, Jack said, pulling Zara deeper into the tunnels. Wait. Zara stopped him. She pulled out a small device she had kept hidden in her clothes. Royal Access Transmitter. I can use it to disrupt their systems, but my father will know I did it. Is that what you want to do? Jack asked. Zara hesitated. Then her face hardened with resolve. Yes. This is my choice. She activated the device, and somewhere above them, the Imperial ship's systems went dark. It was her first real act of defiance against her father's empire, and despite the danger, she felt something new. The exhilaration of choosing her own path. Emperor Krell slammed his fist on the throne, making his advisors flinch. The throne room of the Imperial Palace was silent except for the Emperor's angry breathing. A week has passed, and you still haven't found her. His voice was quiet but dangerous. The head of security bowed low. Your Majesty, we tracked the princess to Proxima Delta, but her companion is clever. They disabled our scout ship and disappeared. This human is more than a kidnapper, Emperor Krell said. He is a direct challenge to my authority. I want them both found." He turned to a tall, scared warrior standing in the shadows. "Commander Vex, this is now your mission." Vex stepped forward, his black armor gleaming. "I will not fail you, Emperor. Bring my daughter back alive. Kill the human. And Vex, this matter must remain quiet. The wedding alliance with the Draconians cannot be delayed." Vex bowed and left to prepare his elite hunting team. Meanwhile, the Starlight Runner limped through space, its engines struggling after their hasty escape from Proxima Delta. "We need to land soon," Jack said, checking the warning lights on his control panel. "The coolant system is failing." Zara looked worried. "Where can we go that's safe?" Jack thought for a moment. "I know someone on New Montana, an old friend named Lisa Carlson. She used to be military before she went private. If anyone can help us, it's her." New Montana was a frontier world on the edge of human space. Its rocky terrain and unpredictable weather made it perfect for people who wanted to be left alone. Lisa's security compound was hidden in a mountain valley, surrounded by sensor arrays disguised as weather stations. When they landed, Lisa met them at the door with a gun in her hand. "You've got some nerve coming here, Jack," she said, but her smile took the edge off her words. She was tall with short gray hair and the confident stance of a soldier. Inside her compound, they explained their situation. Lisa whistled when they finished. "The Xendorian princess. No wonder half the bounty hunters in the sector are looking for you." She shook her head. "Your ship needs work, and you both need new identities." For the next 3 days, Lisa helped repair the Starlight Runner while teaching them about security protocols. She installed new stealth systems and gave them emergency beacons. Zara was fascinated by Lisa's collection of military history books. "These are about Earth wars?" she asked, looking at the titles. "Yes," Lisa said. "I teach strategy now. May I read them?" Lisa gave her several books, and Zara spent hours learning about human conflicts. She was especially interested in stories about revolutions and independence movements. "Your people fought against their own rulers?" she asked Jack one evening. "Many times," he said. "When people decide they want freedom, they'll risk everything for it." "In the Empire, rebellion is unthinkable," Zara said. "We are taught that chaos would follow." "Sometimes a little chaos is worth it," Lisa commented. Their conversation was cut short by alarms blaring from Lisa's security system. She rushed to her monitors. "Imperial flagship entering the system," she reported. "They're scanning for your ship's signature." "How did they find us?" Jack asked. "Commander Vex," Zara whispered, her face pale. "My father's best hunter. He can track anyone." Lisa grabbed weapons from a cabinet. "Take the tunnel to the backup landing pad. I modified your engine signature. You might have a chance if you leave now." "Come with us," Jack urged. "Someone needs to slow them down," Lisa said, checking her rifle. "Go. I'll meet you at the rendezvous point we discussed." They ran for the tunnel as Lisa activated her compound's defenses. Halfway to the ship, they heard explosions from behind them. "We have to go back for her," Jack said, turning around. Zora caught his arm. "She'll be killed, and we'll be captured. I can't leave her." "Then I'll help you," Zara said, making a decision that surprised even herself. "She helped us. Now we help her." They doubled back through the tunnel. When they reached the compound, Imperial soldiers were everywhere. Lisa was pinned down behind a fallen wall, bleeding from her arm. Jack created a distraction while Zara, using skills she'd learned from Lisa's books, circled around to pull the injured woman to safety. As they escaped in the Starlight Runner, dodging Imperial fire, Jack looked at Zara with new respect. The princess who once knew nothing of loyalty to others had risked her life for someone she barely knew. "Thank you," Lisa said weakly from the medical bunk. "Not many would come back." "I'm learning what freedom really means," Zara replied. "It's not just about my choices. It's about helping others make theirs too." "We're low on fuel and medical supplies," Jack said as he checked the ship's systems. Lysa was resting in the small medical bay, her arm bandaged but healing well. "Where can we go?" Zora asked. "Commander Vex will have alerted all official ports by now." Jack smiled. Who said anything about official ports? He entered coordinates into the navigation system. The Starlight runner changed course, heading toward what looked like empty space. As they approached, Zara noticed subtle distortions in the starfield. "Holographic camouflage," she said with surprise. "Welcome to Haven," Jack replied as they passed through the invisible barrier. A small green planet appeared, surrounded by tiny defense satellites. On the surface, farms and forests stretched across the land with small towns nestled between them. "What is this place?" Zara asked as they landed in a hidden hangar built into a hillside. "One of the free colonies," Jack explained. "Places that operate outside Earth government control. They make their own rules here." A group of people waited for them as they exited the ship. At the front stood a man with dark skin and a friendly face despite his serious expression. "Jack Miller," he said, stepping forward. "You always bring trouble with you." "Good to see you too, Sam," Jack replied with a grin. "We need help." Sam Carson was the unofficial leader of Haven. His home served as both a meeting place and command center for the colony. Maps and communication equipment filled one room, while the kitchen was warm and welcoming. "So," Sam said after they explained their situation, "we're harboring the Sendorian princess while the Empire hunts for her. Just another quiet day on Haven." "I'm sorry to bring danger to your people," Zara said. Sam studied her for a moment. "Is it true what they say, that you're running from an arranged marriage?" "Partly," Zara answered. "But there's more to it. My father is planning something dangerous, and my marriage to Warlord Krax was just one piece of it." Sam went to a computer and showed them files and images. "For 2 years, we've been tracking unusual Xendorian activities. Your father's diplomats have been meeting with Earth government officials, offering technology and protection." "In exchange for what?" Lisa asked from the doorway, her arm in a sling. "Access to Earth's resource colonies," Sam said. "The official story is that it's a mutually beneficial trade agreement, but we've noticed military installations appearing near the trade zones." Zara wasn't surprised. "My father doesn't make fair trades. He conquers." "Can you tell us what you know?" Sam asked. Zara hesitated only briefly before nodding. "My father believes humans have potential but lack proper direction. He plans to slowly take control of your colonies, one by one. The marriage alliance with the Draconians would give him the extra military power he needs." "There's more," she continued. "The Empire has been developing weapons using forbidden Starkiller technology. When fully operational, these weapons could destroy entire solar systems." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. "We've suspected something like this," Sam finally said, "but we needed proof to convince others." "I can help," Zara offered. "I know access codes, security protocols, and the locations of key military facilities." Sam looked at her with new respect. "Why would you betray your own empire?" Zara thought about her answer carefully. "Because I've learned what freedom means. The Empire takes freedom from others. I can't be part of that anymore." For the next several days, Zara worked with Sam's team, sharing everything she knew about the Empire's plans. She taught them how to decode Imperial transmissions and identify weaknesses in their ships. One evening, Jack found her sitting alone, looking at the stars. "Having second thoughts?" he asked, sitting beside her. "No," she said. "For the first time, I feel like I'm doing something that matters. In the palace, I was just decoration. Here, I can make a difference." Jack smiled. "You know, when I first met you, you could barely understand the concept of making your own choices. Now look at you, helping lead a resistance." Zara turned to him, her expression serious. "I've been thinking about all the others like me in the Empire, people who don't know they can choose another way. They deserve a chance at freedom too." "One step at a time," Jack said. "First, we need to stop your father's plans." And Commander Vex, Zara added, looking back at the stars. He's still out there, hunting us. As if her words had summoned him, alarms began to sound throughout the colony. The alarms weren't signaling an attack on Haven. Instead, they were warning of an emergency transmission breaking through their security systems. Everyone gathered around the main screen as a message played. It showed Commander Vex standing on the bridge of his ship. "Attention, human colonies," his cold voice announced. "The Imperial flagship has surrounded the human outpost on Callisto Moon. We have detected Princess Zora's genetic signature in their database. Unless she surrenders herself within 48 hours, we will destroy the outpost and its 5,000 residents." The message ended, leaving the room in shocked silence. "It's a trap," Sam said, looking at Zora. "You've never been to Callisto." "Vex knows how humans think," Zora replied. "He studied your species before hunting me. He knows you value innocent lives." "Those people on Callisto had nothing to do with this," Jack said, his fists clenched. "We can't let them die." "If you go, you both die," Lisa argued. "That's what Vex wants." Zora stood up. "We have to help them. I won't have more deaths on my conscience." Sam looked thoughtful. "Maybe there's a way to save those people without walking into Vex's trap." They spent hours planning. Zara shared everything she knew about Imperial ships and protocols. Jack suggested using technology in ways the Empire wouldn't expect. "Imperial commanders are taught to respect power," Zora explained. "They only respond to greater force." "We don't have greater force," Sam said. Jack smiled. "But we could look like we do." Their plan was daring and dangerous. They would use mining drones reprogrammed to emit the same energy signatures as warships. Holographic projectors would create the appearance of a human fleet. It might buy enough time for the people on Callisto to evacuate. 2 days later, the Starlight Runner approached Callisto, leading what looked like a dozen powerful warships. In reality, they were alone. "Opening communication channel," Jack said as they came into range of Vex's flagship. Commander Vex appeared on the screen, his scared face showing no surprise. "Princess Zora, you finally decided to surrender." "We're here to negotiate the release of the Callisto colonists," Zora said, using her royal voice. Vex smiled coldly. "I see your human fleet. Impressive illusion." Zora's heart sank. He had already seen through their deception. But Vex continued, "I am curious how you managed it. I will allow the evacuation ships to leave while you and I discuss your surrender." It wasn't what they had expected, but it gave them a chance to save the colonists. For 2 hours, they maintained their position as evacuation ships left Callisto. "The last transport is away," Sam reported from Haven, where he was coordinating the fleet illusion. Suddenly, Imperial fighters launched from Vex's ship, firing on the Starlight Runner. The holographic fleet couldn't shoot back, and the deception was exposed. "He was playing with us," Jack yelled, taking evasive action. He knew all along. The Starlight Runner shook as laser fire hit their shields. Jack's piloting skills kept them alive, but a boarding shuttle attached to their hull. "Imperial troops are cutting through the airlock," Lissa warned. Jack grabbed a weapon. "Zara, get to the escape pod." "I won't leave you," she insisted. Before he could argue, the airlock door exploded inward. Imperial soldiers poured into the ship. Jack fired, hitting 2 of them before a shot struck his shoulder. He fell, and soldiers surrounded him. Zara looked at Jack's injured form, then at the soldiers pointing weapons at her. In that moment, she made the hardest decision of her life. "Stop," she commanded. "I am Princess Zara Krell, daughter of Emperor Krell. I surrender myself freely on the condition that these humans are spared." The soldiers hesitated, then their leader nodded. "Commander Vex accepts your terms, Princess." As they led her away, Zara managed to transfer files from her personal device to the ship's emergency system. She caught Jack's eye as he regained consciousness. "Get the information to Sam," she whispered. "It's all the proof you need about my father's plans." Jack reached for her, but the soldiers pulled her away. The last thing she saw was his face, determined even in defeat. "I'll find you," he promised. "This isn't over." "She gave herself up for us," Jack said, his voice rough with emotion. He stood before the gathered resistance members on Haven, his shoulder bandaged, but his determination unbroken. Lisa, Sam, and 24 others listened as he explained Zora's sacrifice and showed them the files she had transferred before being taken. "These contain everything," Sam said, studying the data. "Imperial fleet movements, weapons schematics, and proof of her father's plans to conquer human territories." "Great," Jack replied. "But Zora is still their prisoner. The Imperial flagship is taking her back to Xendor for a public ceremony." Lisa noted. "Emperor Krell wants to show everyone that his daughter has been rescued from her kidnappers." "Then that's where we're going," Jack said. Sam shook his head. "That's suicide, Jack. Even with this information, we don't have enough ships or weapons to attack the Imperial flagship." "We don't need to attack it directly," Jack argued. "According to these files, Zora will be transferred to a smaller ship for the final journey to the palace." He pointed to a spot on the star map. "Right here. That's our chance." Over the next 3 days, they gathered every ally they could find. Pilots, engineers, and fighters who had reasons to oppose the Xendorian Empire joined their mission. The Starlight Runner, repaired and upgraded, would lead a small fleet of fast ships. When the day came, they waited at the transfer point, hidden in the shadow of a large moon. "Imperial ships approaching," Lisa announced from her position at the scanner. 5 vessels, including Commander Vex's personal transport. "Right on schedule," Jack said. "Remember, we need to create enough confusion to get aboard Vex's ship. That's where they'll be holding Zora." Their small fleet moved into position. When the Imperial ships began the transfer procedure, Jack gave the signal to attack. The battle was quick and chaotic. While the larger ships engaged the Imperial escorts, the Starlight Runner slipped through the fighting toward Vex's ship. "They'd spotted us," Lisa warned as enemy fire rocked their vessel. "Almost there," Jack replied, pushing the engines to their limit. They crashed into the docking bay of Vex's ship, the Starlight Runner's reinforced hull breaking through the shields. Jack, Lisa, and Sam led a small team through the smoke and debris, fighting their way toward the prisoner section. Meanwhile, Zora sat in her cell, hands bound by energy restraints. She had spent days refusing to cooperate with Commander Vex, despite his threats and promises. When the first explosions rocked the ship, she knew something was happening. The door to her cell slid open, and there stood Jack, his face dirty from battle, but his eyes bright. "Told you this wasn't over," he said with a grin. As they fought their way back to the ship, Zora spotted a communication terminal. "Wait," she said. "I need to do something." She pushed past Jack and accessed the ship's broadcast system using her royal codes. Her face appeared on screens throughout the ship and on all Imperial channels. "People of the Tendorian Empire and free worlds," she began. "I am Princess Zora Krell, and I speak the truth my father has hidden from you all." In clear, simple words, she revealed Emperor Krell's plans for conquest, his secret weapons programs, and the lies he had told his own people. She broadcast the evidence to diplomatic channels across the galaxy. "I choose freedom," she concluded, "not just for myself, but for all beings who deserve to make their own choices. The Empire must change, or it will fall." Commander Vex and his soldiers burst into the room just as she finished. A firefight erupted, but Jack pulled Zora to safety as Sam and Lisa covered their retreat. They escaped as Allied ships created a path through the Imperial blockade. Behind them, chaos spread through the Empire as Zora's message reached world after world. "What happens now?" Zora asked as they jumped to safety. "That depends," Jack replied. "What do you want to happen?" Zora smiled at the question she had once found so strange. "I want to help others find their freedom, as you helped me find mine." In the weeks that followed, Zura became known as the voice of the Free Xandorians, a growing movement inspired by human ideals of self-determination. Jack remained at her side, their relationship growing from allies to deep friends to something more. Together, they established safe routes for others seeking escape from oppression, known as the Freedom Run. For Zara, the journey had transformed her from a captive princess to a champion of liberty. In humans, she had found not just rescuers but teachers who showed her that true freedom comes not from power or position, but from the courage to choose one's own path and fight for the freedom of others.